It's WolfTix Radio.
What the brothers in the hood be shiftless? Hey, what it good do? Wolfgang Amadeuz. And y'all know what this is? This is WolfTix Radio, y'all. Look, I just got back from, let me just get straight to it. I just got back from the Rhymefest 2025, y'all. For those who've been on my YouTube, y'all know anywhere there's hip hop in LA, I'm there. And Rhymefest 2025 was all the way live. Man, I'm still, look, I have not stood up in that long for that long of a time since I don't know when, but man, my dogs was hurting. I literally got there and stayed there for 12 hours. I got there super early, but it was worth it. I'll just say it like that. For those who don't know, Rhymefest 2025, it happened August 16, 2025 at the LA Coliseum. Let me give you the rundown of who was all there. And I'm mad that I didn't catch everybody. I'm mad I didn't catch everybody. And I'm going to give an honorable mention to pretty much everybody because they had two stages. Shout out to Indigenous. That's the homie. Shout out to Indigenous. That's Razcast's DJ. That brother showed me much love. I met him a few times before. And I met him through the homie Class 1. Shout out to Class 1. It's like it was a West Coast hip hop family reunion, if you ask me, because I ran into so many people. I had such a good time, man. It was popping. I'll just say it like that. So we had a couple of hosts. Destroy, yeah, Destroy's on Shade 4-5. Shout out to him. He's cool. I like Destroy. Bootleg Kev, Supernat. MC Supernatural got all the votes from one of the first battles I ever saw live. Well, that wasn't the first battle, but that was one of them. So shout out to Supernat, CC Valencia, and Planet Asia. Planet Asia was in the house. Shout out to Asia. We had the house DJs again. That was DJ Indigenous, Great Dane, DJ Luman, DJ Lala, Johnny Miles. So I'll go from like the people who pretty much were there and kind of like from the, I won't even say the bottom, because for the most part everybody there were freaking legends. You know, I saw Mr. Chalk, Truly Odd, C-, and they go by the Fantastic Four, right? They have not been on stage together for a long time. And that shit was epic to just see them do that thing. They did a dope little mix. They were playing the hits that they used to play on their radio show. And yeah, they ain't I don't think they've been on stage for shit decades, but now, well, I ain't gonna say decades, but they back at it. So shout out to Mr. Chalk, shout out to Truly Odd, the Fantastic Four. Had D Styles, DJ Q-Bert, DJ Shortcut, Conejo, Mayday, Locksmith ripped it. I like him. Lench Mob was there, and I'm gonna talk about the Lench Mob in a minute. I didn't get a chance to see the Lench Mob. Shout out to Chili Chill. Yeah, that's the homie, man. Lench Mob was there. The doc of Mexican descent. You had the co-defendants. Reason. I didn't see Reason. I should have bumped it. I think I saw Reason, but then I didn't say nothing to Reason. I used to work with Reason. Shout out to Rob. Rob know who I am. Jay Worthy, Bamboo, Coast Contra, one of the first acts that were on that main stage. And if y'all don't know who Coast Contra is, I'm on them. They're up next. They're dope. They're dope as fuck. They got a new album dropping, 27th? I talked to one of the twins. I forget which one, but I gave him his props, gave him his flowers, and I told him, I was like, man, I've been a follower, been a supporter of your dad since I was a teenager, bro. Before they were even born. But shout out to Coast Contra, shout out to Ras. It's Ras and Taj are the two twins, and the other two cats from Coast Contra. The Shapeshifters, Coyote, Onyx. Onyx killed it. Onyx did an excellent job. So Onyx was there. Master Ace. I didn't get a chance to see Master Ace. I'm mad at that, but hey, Swollen Members, they did their thing. Now, the Licks. Oh man, the Licks, they did their thing. I thoroughly enjoyed their performance. They did their classics. Everybody went crazy. It was dope. It was hella dope. Medusa, the gangster goddess. Shout out to Medusa. Medusa was in the house. She performed. She didn't perform with the Licks. She performed with one of the headliners, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Delinquent Habits were there. Visionaries were there. Dead Prez. Why I didn't catch Dead Prez, bro? They had 2 stages. So it was like going back and forth. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, I was walking all day. I was on my feet all day. I had on some old school Adidas, and them things hurt my feet. I didn't have the comfortable ones. I didn't have no Stan Smiths. I had some, I don't know what kind of Adidas I had, but I had to come representing hip hop, and my feet was on fire, and you probably had to walk half a mile just to go to the other stage. So forgive me for not catching Dead Prez. I didn't catch the Alchemist, but the Alchemist was there. Dilated Peoples was there. DJ Quik was there. DJ Quik killed it. Xzibit was there. And that's who Medusa went on stage with. He let her kick it. That shit was dope. Man, that afternoon was heaven to me. And shout out to everybody who was there. Now, Ray and Ghost and Cap, my Wu-Tang brothers, they were the headliners. It was rumored, they were thinking it was going to be Nas was going to be there too. Because I literally thought I was going to see Nas, but Nas didn't show up. It was Ray, it was Ghost, it was Cap. Because they said a special guest, and they thought it was going to be Nas. I think the special guest was Cap. I saw Capadonna. Shout out to Capadonna. Y'all, if y'all don't know, The Pillage, Capadonna's The Pillage is like my shit. And I got much love for Cap. And yeah, I think they thought it was going to be Nas because he and Ray, no, it was he and Ghost. They were kicking it earlier in LA throughout the day. So I think people thought that that's what it was going to be. But no, man, Rhymefest 2025, if you're listening to the pod, just go to my YouTube, Set in the West, at Set in the West on YouTube, and you can become a member and you can see I was right there on stage. I was pretty much, I could have gotten on stage, but I wasn't that disrespectful. But I was right there with the Licks, filming them. I was right there with Quik, filming them. I got some of Coast Contra. Who else did I get? Of course, I got Ray and Ghost doing their thing. I got them. Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. Shout out to Micah 9. He was in the house. One of the greatest MCs on the West Coast. You'll see him on the video, on the initial video that I have. He if anything, he was the one that hooked it up because we had our VIP. We had our VIP tickets, but we didn't have our all access. And they were just being real kind of, with the, VIP is one thing, but all access, that's what you want. Plus, I was doing my media thing. That's what you want. But yeah, Mike and I made it happen. Shout out to that brother. Dope Project, 1969. That's one of the dopest albums I've yet to hear. And it ain't like all completely rap. My man on there really getting busy. But yeah, a lot of West Coast. Shout out to Abstract Rude. Abstract Rude was there. There's so many people. Man, it was like a high school reunion almost. But these were my brothers and sisters that I seen on stage, and I got to know them in real life, and or just admire them from afar. I pretty much spoke to everybody. I mean, I didn't speak to Xzibit, but shout out to Xzibit. I wanted to ask Xzibit about one of my homeboys that was his cousin. I was like, I ain't seen that cat in years. I was just gonna really ask him about my guy, but Xzibit was there, cool, and the legend Quik. Oh man, when Quik got off stage, I think Xzibit came right after, and in a control booth, Quik was right there next to me. I was gonna say something to him, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna leave Quik alone. That dude's a legend. I would love to work with that cat one of these days, but Quik put on a hell of a show. Quik is a genius. Quik let everybody know, I produced this, I did this, I did, and he ain't bragging. He just like, yo, this is what I do. So shout out to DJ Quik. Man, Rhymefest 2025. I'm just doing like a lightweight recap, really. You know what I'm saying? This is Wolfgang Amadeuz, and this is Wolf Tickets. Look, y'all follow me on the socials. The IG is at AO2K, and the Twitter is at AO2K, and of course the YouTube is at Set in the West Doc, and Set in the West Doc 1. You can follow that too. I want to say shout out and big up to Volume 10. The funny thing about this, I met Volume 10 first time, gave him his flowers, and was like, yo, man, nice, you nice as hell. I told him a story about me doing this Compton Film Festival. If y'all don't know, my documentary Set in the West will be at the Compton Film Festival on September 6th, 2 p.m. I'm doing a Q&A. I'll be in the house, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I did an interview on the Compton Film Festival podcast. Y'all can look it up, and I talked to the two organizers for the Compton Film Festival, and I edit my stuff. I made one comment about something. I make sure I edit. Hey, check this out. Don't put that in there. I said that. Now, I was in charge of the edit, and I actually edited. I took out a few stuff that I said, and I kind of was just nah, this ain't. You want a project, or if you're doing an interview, that's going to be almost like an evergreen to a degree. So I didn't want to say too many things that were dated. I didn't want to get in there and just get kind of like, I was just like, yeah, no, let me take this out. Now, one of the organizers for the Compton Film Festival that I was interviewing with, and shout out to Antonio Crow and Mark. I think Mark asked me, he said, hey, yeah, I got this story. Now, this is cutting room floor, so it ain't even out there, but he was telling me a story about, because we were talking about Good Life MCs. I think we ended up mentioning Skilo, and I think we ended up mentioning Volume 10. And he told me, it's funny, he told me a story about Volume 10, and I'm not going to really repeat the story. And I was like, let's edit that out. Let me take that out. Because to me, I was just like, I didn't want to perpetuate any BS. It has something to do with Volume 10 and Ice Cube. That's all I'll say. Now, for those who don't know, number one, Volume 10's a legend. If you heard the song Pistol Grip Pump, that is him. That's Volume 10. Now, legend has it that the Lench Mob were spying on a lot of Good Life MCs, taking tapes and studying a style. And since, I'm going to tell you one thing about the Good Life. That was just the rawest form of LA hip hop you were going to get in the late 80s, early 90s. The Good Life was the shit. I mean, I'm mentioning Skilo because that's like one of the most notable MCs that came out of there, rappers. I was rapper, MC, whatever. People kind of clown him for, but shout out to Skilo. I love that song. I wish I had that whole album. top of the world. Like, I supported all them Good Life MCs. Living Legends, Abstract Rude, Grouch and Eli, Night and Day. Man, if you from LA, you know the vibes. You know what it is. Real hip-hop in the building. Yeah, Volume 10, though, he had a beef with the Lench Mob. And he was talking to me in class, the homie Class 1. And Class 1 didn't even know. He was explaining, I had this beef with the Lench Mob. And like I said, I'm going to mention the Lench Mob because the Lench Mob was in the house. And I didn't get to see him, but shout out to Chili Chill. And yeah, man, he said, yeah, I've been at this beef with the Lench Mob, man. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then, he said he squashed it. And I'm like, oh, that's what's up. It's like, yeah, we had to squash that beef, man, because, it's time. It's just grown man shit. It's got time to get busy. And, they've had this beef for the longest. Like I said, if everybody if you don't know the history of LA hip hop, the Good Life, let me get back to what I was saying about the Good Life. The Good Life is hip hop, raw hip hop. It was the rawest form of hip hop. It was like the crude oil of hip hop. And then you got industry people who had the gas. They were the gas. But in order for you to get gas, you got to get that crude oil, and you got to refine it into getting the gas and all the other petroleum products. So nothing against the Lench Mob. They were dope. Chili Chill, DJ'd for Yo-Yo. Lench Mob was dope. But a lot of industry cats were getting a lot of styles. They were getting a lot of styles from the Good Life MCs. For instance, if you listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony, For the Love of Money, for the love of money, gotta get this money, man, right? And then on the last verse when Busy start, no, not Busy. Which one is it? Which one's the light skinned one? Okay, it's Flesh. That's Flesh. I know who Flesh is. It's Busy. That's the dark skinned short one. It's Wishbone. No, Wishbone is the dark skinned. Busy is the light skinned one, right? Yeah. And Lazy is the tall light skinned dude. Okay. Busy Bone raps like here we gonna find, here we gonna ride. So Bone was already rapping fast. Bone Thugs and Harmony, they already had that style. You can't take that away from them. They already had that style. But someone told them, maybe Eazy-E or somebody, because they were signed to Eazy's label, told them to slow it up a little bit, right? Because they was known for, shout out to Bone, dope. But they stole elements of that flavor. What the, and we gonna find, and we gonna line, they got that from Freestyle Fellowship. Go look it up. Now, Freestyle Fellowship was signed, and they were out there too, but they were not as blown, or they stole that style from Freestyle Fellowship, that singy rapping. They stole that from Freestyle Fellowship, y'all. Look that up. Me, Volume 10, Class 1, we talking about that. And Volume 10 was like, my verse on Pistol Grip Pump when I, third verse, rhyming is a cinch. Son of a bitch, I'm rich, but that don't mean you can gank me, cause all my peoples is pimps. Players, hustlers, killers, all came through the filter. I came with my dogs, man. Fuck a gorilla. He was talking about the Lench Mob, Gorillas in the Mist, because they stole that style. Killer and have a Hitler beans. Joe having them steam. They call me, what up, shut up. That's Volume 10's signature. And if you listen to that one song that came out, it was 91, I think, Lench Mob, Gorillas in the Mist. You can't hang with my nigga. They took that style from Volume 10 because someone came up there and recorded. Back in the day, it wasn't like, you could just pull out your cell phone and record it and then send it to somebody or put it on your social media. You actually had to come in with a big ass VCR camera, right? You had to go up there and actually, really put in some effort to film, and it was known you filming. I was told that some of that filming got to Cube in them, and they were jacking styles. Not taking anything away from Cube. Not taking nothing away from Cube. But, yeah, I'm just saying, the real raw hip-hop is the one who got that real raw hip-hop. And then the ones in the industry, they sometimes, they come back and they come down, or they come out and they take. Y'all seen that movie, Sinners? Yeah, man, but no. Long story short, I chopped it up with 10. I'm gonna do an interview with 10. 10 showed me love. I told him, you know, I'm working on Setting the West, the continuation of it, and I definitely got to get his perspective on the good life. I always thought the good life didn't have gangbangers. Let me just keep it a buck. There's a bunch of gangbangers at the good life. Man. Don't get it twisted. LA, everybody is, you know, twisted and they doing their thing. But Volume 10 pretty much officially dead the whole beef that he had with the Lench Mob. And I'm proud of that. Grown men. They gonna be going places, they gonna be touring. That stuff is just bad for business. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Volume 10. And in all honesty, I took 20-something minutes just to say that. I took 20-something minutes just to say shout out to Volume 10 and how grown men do what they do in this hip-hop game. So shout out to the Lench Mob. Shout out to Chili Chill. Yeah, man. This is hip-hop. We gotta be here for the kids. We gotta be here forever. But that's all I really had to say. That's somewhat of a West Side story. I'll get more into it. Maybe I'll do it on a live and I'll talk about it more in depth. But I do appreciate y'all listening to Wolf Tickets. And please just continue to support. Continue to be your creative self. Continue to love yourself. Alright? Rest in peace to Dr. Funkenstein. David Storms, my big homie. I'm glad you're not suffering no more. I know you on the other side, and I know you taking care of moms over there and pops over there too, and God got y'all. Yeah, no. Yeah, my OG Dr. Funkenstein, who the documentary Set in the West is pretty much focused on and centered around. He passed away August 11, 2025. 52 years after the birth of hip-hop. At around 8:08 our time. He would go out at that time at 8:08. Yeah. But Funkenstein was a good dude, and he meant a lot to a lot of us on the West Coast. So I just want to say, you know, just glad to have known him, and I'm glad he took me in like a little brother and you know, just took me around and introduced me to all the other legends. And I know a lot of people was hurt. They felt that, man. I know, you know, prayers for everybody. And I know that Battle Cat, that was his dude, man. And Battle Cat still hurt about that. I'm praying for everybody. But yeah, Dr. Funkenstein the mothership has taken off. He is no longer with us, but he will be back. Yeah, man. I just had to say that. I'm not sad. I was, but I'm good because, like I said, this guy he did his purpose. He laid out his purpose, and that's what you should be doing. You should be asking God for your purpose, and you should be working and striving every day to fulfill your purpose. Now, if your purpose is to be an asshole, I don't know what to tell you. Don't be an asshole. Just. Yeah. But anyway, y'all, this is Wolfgang Amadeuz again. WolfTix Radio, and we up out of here. Peace.